Mito. I'm so excited for this matchup. We have the chieftain of the North Canadian wilderness, Mito, whatever, versus the mini Napoleon himself, the chief strategician of Diaruga. The winner of the LAN and the person I had to bunk with, and also, damn right, nice bloke as well, Diaruga.
Yeah, Diaruga versus Mido. Both players are really good. It is Mido with the Garjonians versus Diaruga with the little lieutenant colonels. So, based on rank, you might say that that Garjonian might have a bit of an advantage compared to lieutenant colonel, huh?
Well, GRJ was the PR80 player. Like, there's no rank to define how good GRJ actually is, and still is to this day. Like, he is our Lord and Savior. He give us our daily Adrian Pars free action, GRJ, and the G will always be with you.
The G will always be with you. All right, getting into the next game here. It is the fourth game of the tournament so far. It is Mido versus Diaruga. We're getting into it now. This is Jailed Casting, Harrison co-casting. It is Sweden versus France. All right, so Diaruga with Sweden and Mido on France. You've seen a little bit of Sweden so far, I believe. What are your impressions of them?
I hate it. I've had so many bad encounters playing against the Swedes. I'm a Dutch player myself, and Dutch skirmishers with counter-infantry rifling still get countered by the Swedish Karelians, and it's just... But now, Diaruka playing Sweden, I can set my biases to the side and appreciate how strong they actually are. Maybe I could do a bit better with better micro. I'm not the greatest player. I'm pretty poor, actually, but... Mito, one of the stronger French players. He's very similar to Germany. Both Mito and Kaiser, experts. Proper experts with the French and German civilization. So I'm expecting maybe Germany to come out from Mito at one point. But French versus Swedish, we did see in the Mini-Molt Soldier series earlier. I believe Mini countered Soldier's Swedish pick here with the French. That didn't go too well for him. Opened up with crossbows, and you guessed it, the Karelians, they counter the crossbows. I wonder how Mito will play versus Diaruga's Sweden here.
Yeah, French versus Sweden. French shouldn't have a counter. We'll see if Sweden's able to do really well versus it, though. And we see the Torps coming up here. This Torp is in a nice position. It gathers... Well, I guess it's not gathering from the trees. But having him on the mines, having him on the blueberry bushes. We'll take a look at his deck real quick. He does not have one just yet. So we see that nice little treasure that is on DE. It's a 2 macaque, and it has 25 coin, 25 XP, and he does pick that up. So 25 coin, 25 XP, not a terrible treasure. I mean, it's fairly, it's not a whole lot. But those in conjunction isn't too bad. We saw earlier on Diaruga actually getting a nice food treasure. I believe it was 75 food. Shipping 3 villagers now. I can look at his deck now. And interesting card, Duelist. He has Duelist. So that's not a card I was expecting. I don't expect him to use it. Maybe he's just throwing in there for the memes. I don't know. Do you have any insight into that?
It's just Explorer Combat. I don't think we've ever really seen... The only time you'd see Explorer Combat, really, is maybe Japan and Russia. Russia have... is an extra 3 multiplier versus Treasure Guardian, so you basically do about 100 damage per shot versus Guardian. So maybe on maps like Hudson Bay and Yukon, but you're not exactly going to see the Swashbuckler coming out from the British player or the French one from France. I'm not expecting to see it here. Did he pick up that wood treasure just north of his position in that middle island? I think there was a wood treasure available for taking. I think Diaruga's picked up quite a lot of treasures so far.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. We also saw Mido taking up a couple of treasures himself. And the explorers pass by each other at ships in the middle of the night. And they do not... ships in the middle of the day, rather, because they saw each other. But they pass each other, and they decided not to fight. So they're just going to go for exploring the map more. We'll take a look at each player, see how they have done on exploring. Mido having the native scout is just really, really big. You're able to scout so much more. You see that, how important... the scout is from the extra, scouting unit is for France. It is interesting that he has his macaque with him instead of scouting. Diaruga opting to try to keep his explorer a little bit more safe, taking more treasures instead of scouting with it. Right as I say that, he goes off. So apparently it's Caster's Curse today.
Well, I like that. Let's look at how many goats that Diaruga has actually got. I think he may have picked up the 2 goats in the middle of the map. If he's got 2 or 3 goats, I'd be quite happy in Diaruga's position. You could have the macaque scouting across the map, and if you see a 90 wood treasure on the other side of the map, fantastic. But the problem is the explorer is so far away from that treasure, but actually the most useful information you can really get is maybe have the 2 line of sights just barely touching, but having double kind of scouting. And then if you both see some decent treasures nearby, like look at this treasure which Diaruga has just scouted. His macaque is nearby, and he's going to go take that treasure. I believe it's a big wood treasure.
Yeah, 80 wood treasure. Very nice treasure there. We'll see if he's able to. He's starting it just now, going over to Diaruga's point of view. He sees it. He doesn't see the villager. There is a villager coming forward right now, so it looks like it's going to be Mido on the aggression, and it is. Let's see what he does. Is he going to build? I would guess a barracks, probably. Although honestly, a stable would be really smart. Sweden has really good pikemen, but the Carillions are not very good actually versus Cav. They only have a 1.5 times multiplier versus Cav in ranged, and no multiplier versus Cav in melee, at least at the start. So he is starting with the barracks though. Perhaps he's just like, all right, Carillions are muskets, they're heavy infantry, let's go with crossbow. But that, I don't know.
I want to say he's going to be going with musketeers here. He's researched place of mine, steel traps in behind now.
That's
I think he's seen how crossbows struggle versus melee mode Carolingians still, and heavy infantry is the way to go versus Carolingians. And if anything, if Mitoe can actually play this in a way that he can force a 8 crossbow shipment from Diaruga, or maybe force the leather cannons, and then age up behind that and go for a musketeer skirmisher comp, I think Mitoe be looking quite happy with that. But oh wow, really early leather cannons. I suppose Diaruga did scout to the barracks here and wants to be in a very. He wants to be ready for the units.
Yeah, 2 leather cannons. It's an interesting unit. It has 40 attack and 3 times versus infantry, so it's very effective versus infantry. It's somewhat comparable to like a skirmisher or something because it only has 21 range, but it does have 2 area damage, 40 attack, and so it's basically 120 damage with 2 area attack. They are typically quite expensive, 300 food, 100 wood. So for an H2 shipment, getting 2 of them is really, really good. It's not necessarily a unit that you want to train a whole lot because it's so expensive, but it can be a really nice shipment. So it's nice for him to get that out. Taking a look over at Mido, I think you're completely right. Yeah, muskets versus Carillions, they just kind of just fare better. They have they're a little bit cheaper. Carillions cost 65 food or 60 food, 40 wood, 40 coin. Sorry about that. 60 food, 40 coin, and Mido's the musketeers 75 food, 25 coin. So coin gathers slower than food, just a little bit better. And we see that Diaruga is pushing in now. His leather cannons are not visible to Mido yet. He's got some more musketeers coming from the side. And those leather cannons are going to be a really, really nice touch. The Mido is going to melee his musketeers, trying to go on to the leather cannons. They are unprotected from the Carillions, and he's just now trying to to micro off. We'll go to Fog of War, turn that off. And it looks like the Carillions do come and snare the musketeers. So really nice micro from Diaruga. This is really, really good for Diaruga at this point.
It's just so strong from Sweden. Like H2 cannons with units that can just snare and pin down infantry formations due to their faster speed is just such a strong play. And we've seen Diaruga has correctly analysed the situation. If these musketeers from Mitoe were crossbowmen, they'll be instantly dead. They'll be caught up, they'll be snared, cut down. Musketeers do something, but this extra batch of musketeers here, I think was a mistake. They're not going to accomplish anything really, and I think Mitoe just needs to abandon his forward position, age up behind this. He has forced the leather cannons and the pikemen here from Diaruga, and maybe he could try and play some defensive skirm wall action in his base, but Diaruga's on the offensive here, and he's going for it. Yeah,
he's pretty far ahead. Those leather cannons being untouched, and H2 shipment, he ships the 600 wood just now. So Mido shipped 600 wood. He's got 2 barracks in base. He's got crossbowmen in queue. So I guess he's going back to crossbowmen. He's still gathering coin, though, for whatever reason. Probably he's going to try to mix crossbowmen with musketeers, which actually probably would be kind of nice, because if the musketeers are in front and taking the damage from the Corellians with this crossbowman behind, not getting into melee combat on them, that could be a pretty nice touch. We do see the market going down right now. Greatcoats is not going to be finished. Nice pickup from Diaruga there. That should do a whole lot.
See, Diaruga, he's on another level. He's denied the opponent their greatcoats. Like, how amazing can you be denying your opponent of the best upgrade in the game? Remember, guys, get your greatcoats in every game.
Yeah, greatcoats. You and your greatcoats, Harrison.
Love it. It's something I always forget to do myself, and it's so embarrassing when I'm like, oh yeah, I've lost 10 vils. I should have got great. Oh.
Yeah, I tend to forget about it until just after I should have. So I see a raid coming in. Oh, I need to do that now. And then it arrives after I've already lost a couple of those. Like, ah, dang it. Yeah, but we do see some additional torp going in. So for those of you curious, he does have a little bit of torps out. He has 9 torps at the moment. So he's booming a little bit with it, but not super hard. We do see the leather cannons moving back now. They only have 3 speed in firing mode right here, and we see that they are able to fire onto the mass of crossbowmen. Some of the CDB coming forward, musketeers coming forward now, perhaps a little bit too late. The crossbowmen are backing up. Corellians just do so good in melee mode, and they are going to, I think, take the advantage here. It is defender's advantage. Them crossbowmen onto the side. It looks like Mito's actually able to push this back. Really, really well done from him, mealing the musketeers onto the leather cannons, and he's gonna take this fight. He's definitely doing really well at this point. The question is, though, after the onset of that fight, losing several units, Mido doesn't have a huge army left by the end of it. He's got some militia, a few units, but his CDB definitely partook in a lot of that fight. The question is Diaruga still okay? Because he has no units at the moment, but his score says that he is even, at least the score-wise. So the question is his eco that much better? He's got 9 torps out. Looking over at Mido, he doesn't have greatcoats, I know that much. I don't know what other market upgrades he has, but his eco is good, but surely not as good as Sweden. We'll take a look at the decks really quick for you guys while the army's moving across the map.
Well, so the thing is, Sweden is aging up behind this. Diaruga had the macro to age up, and he's going to go age up and could send 2 Falconets as card number 1 and train another batch of Karelians. So 10 Karelians, 2 Falconets, and defend anything from Mitoe. You see Mito's pushing out. He feels that he hasn't got enough time to fully now gather the resources up to age behind to get to the next stage. He's probably sent an extra couple of cards in age 2, so if he does get to the 3rd age, those shipments will be much slower, and he's just trying to raid his way back into the game now. We'll pick up quite a few units here, actually. Actually, a really nice raid. Even Minutemen getting on the action. Looks like they're just about to pick off these 3 vills. But yeah. Sweden's up. Let's see what Diaruga's first card will be.
It's 2 Falconets.
Yeah, 2 Falconets.
2 Falconets coming in. Really nice shipment. He has a few Corellians out. Carolean. I actually looked it up. It is a Carolean. That's how you pronounce it. And it is, 2 Falconets and Caroleans. It should be pretty good combination. He is going to be able to take down the scout, I think. So based on score, Diaruga is a little bit behind at the moment. Look at Mido. He is just now aging. He is aging with Exiled Prince, so it's a fast age up. So I think, man, this is actually really close. I think Diaruga has a little bit better eco, but Mido's a little bit better, a little bit ahead in terms of military population.
So we can work it out. French have 26 CDBs. That's around about 32 villager population. He does have steel traps, placed in mines. I think Diaruga will likely to have those market techs as well. Looking at how many villagers does the Swedish player Diaruga has, he also has around that area 23 regular villagers, 9 torps. I think around about the 9 mark, 9-10 torps. I think the ecos are roughly equivalent, maybe coin heavy here for Diaruga, and the flexibility for Mitoe is much greater. CDBs can fight quite nicely, and because Mitoe is playing in French, they also have a Falconet shipment as well. I think Mitoe should be fine, and Diaruga realizes actually He wants to try and make the most of this tech advantage, and he's charged across the field. I would like to see him trying to pull those Falconets from the Caroleans instead of just leading the charge with them first. I'm sure that you can get the Falconets up to about 5 speed with them. And here we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's enough Caroleans. We see Mido just shipping 2 Falconets now. I believe he canceled the shipment and decided to send that instead, or yeah, just got it actually. So it's nice to have that coming in. I think the Eagle is pretty close, so I think you're probably right on that. We saw that Diaruga does not have the blueberry shipment that makes the Torps gather from blueberries twice as fast, and also gives a bunch of extra, I believe it's 600 extra food on the berry bushes. So he does not have that shipment, which is pretty good if you're wanting to build a bunch of Torps. He does have the 2 Falconets, but as soon as the 2 Falconets from Mido pop, he should be able to push this back. Definitely TC Fire taking out some of the Caroleans. He got a few more coming up, but defender's advantage for Mido. I think Mido's doing really well here.
Wow, Vet Caroleans still get 2-shot kill by the time they get the Falconets.
That was rough. He actually microed his first 2 shots. He could have killed that Falconet in one go, but he does not. And he does end up microing better though by the end of it. And second, only 1 Falconet left for him, and he micros and takes out the army of Mido. Mido, well, he does not have any units in queue. He does not have any villagers in queue whatsoever. He is losing this fight pretty hard. Ouch. Man, this is looking really bad. Oh, he calls it. More Caroleans coming forward. Ouch.
I'm watching on the main ESOC TV. I'm about 3 seconds before, and I was like, let's just see what Geraldine. It's like listening to the radio, just fingers crossed, listening to hear what's happening. And when you say like, oh ouch, I'm like, oh no, what's going on? But you can see it there, and it was. I think what is really frustrating to see there for Mitoe is he could have spawned the Falconets behind his town center, wait for Vet Musks to be fully researched, and just try and play with time, because town center could work on the Falconet as well. But just getting those Falconets out, they have to unpack first. And even in the Art of War missions, they're so well done. They even tell you about having to really unpack your artillery before taking engagement, because that takes time. And Diaruga utilized that, wins the Falc War 2-0, not just like 1-0, 2-0, and then those Falconets were able to rip through Mito's musketeers, and a couple of Caroleans still standing, pinning down the CDB. Yeah, that's a really unfortunate ending to the game from Mito's point of view, but you could say Diaruga, he found his timing and he went for it and he got his rewards.
Yeah, Sweden Caroleans just really strong in melee combat. They have 24 attack and melee and 180 HP for 60 food, 40 coin unit. That's not actually very expensive. Obviously, it's a veteran Carolean, but that 6.56 speed is just because they're in attack. It's 5.25 normally, and yeah, Sweden takes it once again. OP.
I mean, from my personal experiences of almost walking away from the PC after, I was playing a game. I had skirmishers with counter infantry rifling. I have the counter units with the counter tech as well, and I still lose those Caroleans. I think Sweden are certainly top 3 at the moment. They are very strong. And as the game progresses and more things are figured out, they've become more annoying to deal with. And I've had also some fun times with Mr. Brownboy in team games where there's a card in the 4th age where it upgrades your Carolean's attack, I think, or HP by about 20%, but also changes the 30% melee resist hand armor to 30% range resist. We're talking about range resist musketeers now, and high speed musketeers. It's a 4th age card which he hasn't got, but when you're just sat there like trying to focus his downs with Reuters skirmishers, just watching this block of units just not die, it's so demoralizing.
Yeah, for sure. The Caroleans really strong. They really is. I think what mattered almost more than anything else was the Torp, the efficiency of the Torps, really though, because the Torps allowed him to come back after losing his whole army and come back, age up first, and have a bigger mass than his opponent, who he just lost his whole army to. So really good stuff from Diaruga. And we'll take a look at the post game real quick. Looking at the military units killed, Diaruga definitely killed a lot more. Combat XP definitely in his favor also. Taking a look at the res gathered, you see, despite France CDBs being so strong, we see Diaruga kind of keeping up. Of course, Mido was using his villagers to fight, and I believe he also got some shipments. That's what you see there. But yeah, really good stuff from Diaruga. He takes game number 1, and we will get into the next one in a bit. Anything else you want to see on the?
Yeah, go on the map. I just want to check if Diaruga even made a market. Because I'm just assuming he made a market, but I don't actually know if he did make a market.
No market. I don't see
no market. There you go. There's the Swedish play style. No market hype. Didn't know how he spread his villagers out across the mines, so he didn't deplete a single mine at home, which is, I think that's a very nice little touch there to add on.
Yeah. The Karelians costing 40 coin. He didn't have to have hardly any villagers on coin. You see he has 492 coin at the moment, and only 1 villager on it. And he has that much coin banked up, so yeah, the Torps very good at gathering, despite 1.5 times more resources coming in. 150% is really good. And we'll get into the next game in a little bit. We're gonna go to the overlay, and we're gonna get into it. Game number 2 coming up in just a bit. I'm curious who it is. Diaruga picking first. What do you think they might go with?
I think Diaruga is a jack of all trades. I know Diaruga has does play all the civs. I'm thinking possibly Japan, but Hokkaido that's the map, which is Mount Fuji, big mountain in the middle, small sea down to the southern side. Not really much of a TP play style. I don't really think it specializes civs which go sea boom. Civs like Japan who shrine all the hunts, because actually it's quite an enclosed map. You don't have the wide open spaces like Grand Chaco, which we saw with Lucas playing. I really would be left guessing here for what Diaruga would want to play. Maybe Brits could be a decent option. It's a safe first pick, I'd say. I don't think a civ like Dutch would be a smart first choice for Diaruga. Mitoe could even just stay as the French. I think this is a nice map for France.
Yeah, there's a few options for sure. We're getting into it now. This is game number 2. We see that Diaruga took game number 1. Going to update that scoreboard for you guys. 1-0 in Diaruga's favor, and it is, it's looking good. Here we go. So the map is Hokkaido, and it is Diaruga versus Mido. If you're just now joining us, it is Jailed Casting, Harrison co-casting, and here we go. I'm excited for this. It is France versus Germany. All right, pretty classic matchup. I think I've even seen France versus Germany on this specific map before. What's your opinions on the matchup, France versus Germany?
At the moment, we have to leave it as relatively unknown, because there's been a big balance change for German. We got the fixed crates sorted, and we moved on from there. It was in favour of France and for quite a while, as in during the EP9 beta test and EP9 release. But the Germans now, they have 190 HP Uhlans. They do have an XP penalty to compensate it, but the Uhlans are back to their former RE glory, and it might have swung in favour, as in Germany could be very comfortable sending the 4 big shipments, the 2 skirmishers, the 2 Uhlans, and may not focus too much into the war wagon production, as we've seen in the later patches of EP. It's been one of the closest matchups for a long, long time, and one of the most enjoyable ones, back and forth. The 190 HP Uhlans is going to be a big factor in the second stage. I don't think Diaruga, I don't think 5 Hussar semi is it's not bad, but it's not an auto win like it was when the Uhlans were 180 HP. But yeah, it's going to be fortress stage player styles for both players. And actually, okay, let's look at this. Mitoe has gone for an early trading post because of the massive XP penalty, but he's chopping for the trading post and a house, skipping the market.
Yeah, it had 3 settler wagons on it, and he's going to actually have a little bit of idle TC time because of this, I think. He's a few seconds, and that's not good. That's not good for Germany. He did opt for a TC, a trade post. That's not something you always expect. It's just 100 wood start for Germany, and he does get it, though. He's just going to have the house coming out now, and he's just now starting to gather his food to age up. Looking over at Diaruga, he's got one villager queued up a third of the way, and another one on the way. He could even queue up a third, so he's definitely ahead in that regard. He also has a trade post himself. France starts with 200 wood. We do see that Diaruga is taking out the Explorer of Mido, so good stuff from him. And yeah, I believe they both had full HP when they faced each other, but Diaruga just deciding to go forward and take care of it. We do see the scout out from Diaruga coming forward. Perhaps that's why Mido is just opting to run back instead of trying to fight, knowing that there is a scout on the map. It would be able to add that little bit of extra damage, and that no matter what, Diaruga would be able to run away due to pull trick with the scout. That scout actually got in the way, and the Mido's Explorer is going to be able to get away until the scout...
Oh no! That is It's okay. I'm not going to say DE pathing issues, because that is just
No.
It's the risk of engaging with your scout, because like the scout was ahead, but as he punched, now behind and blocking, and that's happened to me multiple times though. So
yeah,
micro not working fully here, just pushing the Explorer back.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with DE. That's always been the case. You never really want another unit mealing between your Explorer and the opponent's Explorer when in a situation like that. Yeah, especially a unit that doesn't melee. The native scout does not melee. So taking a look, we'll look at decks real quick here for you guys. We see that Mido has shipped 2 settler wagons. Looking at his deck, he does have all of his military shipments in Age 2. He does have Black Riders and Jaegers in Age 3. Has the Ulan, Skirmishers, War Wagons. He has the Cavalry hit points. Go ahead.
I'm just looking at his macro. He's going for the 18 vil age up, and he was undecided to go 17 vil, 18 vil. He's going to be so late. Diaruga is doing his 14 vil CDB standard age up time here, but just the differences in Age 1, that early TP from Diaruga, getting the first pass, getting the 3 CDB in really early doors. Mitoe getting that second TP doesn't really actually help his first settler wagon shipment time. Getting housed at 10 out of 10, maybe missing a villager early on, or not enough food early on, and now aging up with 18 vils behind. Mitoe will feel very sluggish early second age, and it only kick back into normal pace as the game goes on, as he can go through his shipments at a slightly faster pace. But it's keeping his 19th vil afterwards, so he can go send the 3 settler wagons and overpop. But I guess the TP is worth. It is worth to slow your Age 1 down, and it's something maybe I should try and investigate a little bit more. I've just always been doing Age 1 market as Germany.
Yeah, same with me. I was very surprised to see the trade post start. Obviously, it slows you way down, and that's why I haven't done it. But he goes for it, and we'll see if it pays off. I'm very curious if it will or not. He does find an 85 wood treasure. I think he just now saw it. He just now saw it. It was just out of sight of the line of sight of his scouting before. He actually has not scouted a whole lot of the map. We'll look at both players real quick and see what they have scouted. It's actually a relatively small map if you take the sea into account, taking a portion of the map, and also the big cliff in the middle here. If you take those into account, there's not as much land as some other maps, accessible land as other maps. We do see that Diaruga, he is aged to 2, got aged up with 400 wood, sending 700 wood as his first card in Age 2. And looking over at Mido here, he does have plaster mines coming in right now. He may have gotten hunting dogs already. Probably did. We can actually take a look at the villager and see. Yes, he got hunting dogs already. He has a stable going up first. Alright, so that's the difference. Barracks for Diaruga and stable for Mido. So he is shipping 3 settler wagons as his first shipment in Age 2.
I'm good. Just hop in there. I think I saw Diaruga go 700 wood first. 700 wood first into 4 CDB. So maybe he's gone for the stagecoach play, the 2 TB stagecoach, getting architects on the 700 wood, or maybe leftover 400 quite nice. But if you sent 700 wood at this point, I think open up with pikemen would be quite nice. I think Diaruga has, whether he's playing to the map or playing versus Germany, I think he's realised that a Hussar play into German 190 HP Uhlans is probably not preferential, but that's just, that stable drop there. That tells me Diaruga wants to stay H2. I think, and the second Vrax, I think he's going to go Muscas now.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. Musketeers are a unit that France has, and you of course don't have any upgrades for them as France in H2, but Germany just doesn't have them at all. So Musketeers and Hussar versus Ulan and Crossbow. It is obviously micro dependent, but I tend to like the Musketeer and the Huss a little bit more because the Crossbow has to constantly kite back and.
Have you got the chat open?
I haven't. I will look right now.
It's a copy and paste going around, and I wouldn't read it aloud. But my God, where do these people get this from?
Yeah, I don't know what's with these copy and pastes. I know I'm definitely memed quite a bit through them too. We do see one stable, double barracks. The Ulan just going around trying to get some raids, but to be honest, all of the villagers from Diaruga are pretty safe. He also has 5 pike in queue right now. He's got 3 hussars being shipped, and he's got some hussar in queue himself. He is popped. He doesn't have a house. And he's got to wait for a pass of the trade route. Oh, he canceled. Okay, good choice. He cancels the Hussar and he builds a villager just so he wouldn't have idle TC. He's got a house going up now. I think he might have even bought that wood for that. Was definitely pop capped a little bit of idle TC time. Looking over at Mido here, we see, barracks coming up now. Just had a stable already. I like this one little pillar. That is unexpected, but it does help a lot with defending from raids from right there. I don't think I've actually seen that specifically before, just a pillar. Have you seen that before?
I don't want to say like I'm just going to make this opportunity, but I do occasionally do that as well. Blocking your forward coin mine is a very important playstyle. Those Hussars will have to go via the marketing. We've got to risk it because the Hussars can block the path in between the coin mine and the town centre, but it doesn't also help you protection from the range of the Musketeers. But here we go, coin shipment coming out, Minutemen, 2 arms from the 700 coin. The pikes are not in it. I think after seeing the Minutemen and the Uhlans, he's going to sacrifice those Hussars and back out. And I guess age up behind, so I don't really see too many reinforcements from Diaruga. But if Diaruga is going full H2, he's not. Oh, big raid at home, possibly. Big raid at home in French.
Yeah, pretty big raid. We do have the Hussar on them. That was at least 1 villager going down. 2nd villager going down. 3 villagers actually going down at least in that fight, or that raid, if you will. And he cleans up Hussar in the process too. So really, really good stuff from Mido there. Raiding, as we saw in the previous game, is just it's game changing. Villagers going down is just so important. And one thing I did want to point out about the little pillar, oftentimes you see a wall segment and you delete the pillars, but actually on DE, the walls are a little bit changed. It's not quite the same walling that you can do. So if he's trying to just protect right here, that's actually the best you can do. A wall segment is really hard to do in a place like that on DE. We do see Ulan's trying to take out the trade post. 1 Ulan goes down, and it's some more HP off of the other ones. The explorer over here is scouting around. We'll look at Fog of War really quick. I'm really curious about this. We see Mido still has not explored a decent amount of the map. Looking over at Diaruga, it's actually about the same. But Mido has scouted the most important aspects, and that is the... wait, one sec. Why am I... Oh, I Fog of War, duh. I'm used to casting live. And yeah. Alright, so we do see that Musketeer and Huss out from Diaruga. Villagers here, some Minutemen on them, and these villagers are gonna... The settler wagons are gonna need to be pulled back. Yeah. So far, based on the two, Mido has the score lead, but... And he's aging. All right. That makes sense. Like, his military mass is lower. What's he gonna do here? He is deciding to engage with the Ulan, but he pulls back right after he kills off the Hussar. So good choice there. He hits age 2, and he is building war wagons. Or, yeah, age 3. Thank you. That's what I meant. Thank you.
So common age after 9 minutes. 9-minute age 1. Get that hype going.
Hey, thank you. That's why I have you around. Correct me on all those little mistakes, right?
Okay. So another thing, he's saying skirmishers train 2 war wagons, but he's still got the colonial Uhlans at this point. He does see predominantly heavy infantry here from the French player, so that's why he's going into the war wagon, sending the skirms. There could be an argument, just make skirms and then send skirms as well. Snare with the Uhlans, but then have like 13 skirmishers to really rip through the pikemen and musketeers. This is the time where Diaruga really needs to push in and get some damage done, because I think Diaruga is still committing to an Age 2 agenda at this point. And here comes the pikeman pop, not pikeman, the skirmisher pop. Yeah. AFAK on the markets. Losing the market's annoying, but a couple of pikemen on top of the Uhlans would have been game-changing at that point, and then Diaruga's going to back out here because he knows he can't take on veteran skirmishers. But the Uhlans just snare at this point. They just snare. War wagons reinforcing, and this is looking very dire for Diaruga at this point, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it ending very, very soon. Those 5 war wagons, it's such a huge power spike. Here come 5 hussars. Diaruga thinks he's got a chance. He'll see those war wagons and go, oh, hang on a minute.
Those war wagons were mismarked, but they go so far forward before actually engaging, and the pikemen and hussar just are right there on top of them as soon as they do it. But Diaruga calls it. He was still Age 2. He did not have a follow-up answer. He was on the being pushed back a little bit, and Mido being in Age 3, having the Age 3 shipments, the all-important Age 3 shipments. He has 7 military shipments that he could have sent, and it would have been not only an uphill battle, but a cliff battle for Diaruga, and he calls it. So what did you learn from that? What I learned is that TP start from Germany OP, right?
Well, yes and no. So I think it was just some really nice raiding action from Mitoe there. I have seen Ruga in the chat saying that please forgive me, my hunts were a bit far from my town centre, and I have to say it wasn't ideal, but when it's what you learn when you play on the new map is how it spawns and how it's affected how you play. And I think Diaruga also, just by scouting how their map is, you can see that Mitoe doesn't have a hunt as well at this point. So the contain play in H2 was a nice idea, but I just think the Uhlans managed to get just enough value. Maybe that 3 Hussar shipment could have been a gold shipment and just spam Hussars Musketeers from there, but possibly a blip. I'm sure Diaruga will smash out the bag in game number 3. But I still think the TP start, I'm not fully with it. I'm supposed to say I'm not fully with it.
I think it'd be okay in a standard German start of a market, but in the case of going a TP, I think Diaruga perhaps could have noticed that and pushed really early, because he shipped 700 wood into 4 CDB. If he had pushed really early, he would have caught Mido. He wouldn't have even. He would have barely just hit Age 2. He might have not even been able to get some military buildings out. He aged I don't know how much slower it was. It seemed like a minute and a half or so. We can actually look at the post game here and see at what point he aged. It was 4 minutes, about 4 minutes 30 seconds. So it was about 35 seconds slower. But that's a full batch of units, just about.
I mean, Germany aging up after 5 minutes, that is Asian level of aging up times. When I say Asian, I mean the Japanese, the Indians, and the Chinese age up time. Let's say the Dutch, they get to age up relatively fast, and even if they do their 14-ville age up, which they can do in this great start, and with some maybe some herdables, they can get up 3:54 minutes. So just been look at that ville progression in that as well. It's just a little bit iffy there occasionally. So trading off extra experience for possibly a slower time, but once he gets up to the next stage, the tempo does come in behind. Ruga sending 700 wood first. I did like the mix of musketeers, pikemen. Just didn't work out this game in terms of trying to catch that cav.
Knowing from experience, if it's not something you would ever see in a 1v1, but in team you do. Going pure cav as France versus pure cav as Germany, early on, Germany gets the advantage just because of the mass that they can take out. At least in a team game, Germany is one of my preferred answers to France in a team game, because they can win the mobility war, they win the cav war early on, and we do see that that Germany does beat France here. Really nice timing on pushing on aging up and getting a really nice push out there. We're going to get into the next game in just a bit. It is 1 apiece now for both players. And that's good to see. We have quite a series on our hands here. Mido versus Diaruga, Jailed casting, Harrison co-casting, and we're going to get into the next game very shortly.
So, Jailed, do you have some sort of tournaments coming up?
I do have some sort of tournament. I have a 3v3 tournament. It will be announced very, very shortly. It will be about mid-November to mid-December. It is a 3v3 tournament, and it should be really, really good. There will be a pretty large prize pool, at least certainly the biggest prize pool that I have ever hosted. It is going to be available to anyone to sign up. However, there will be team captains, meaning the top players in the tournament are going to be team captains. If there's 16 teams, it'll be the top 16 players, and they are going to pick the team. So if you're not quite up to snuff on your rank, perhaps you won't be picked up. So we'll see. It is if you're not quite high enough rank, I mean, you can sign up and just see if you'll make it. But that's what it will be. Thank you so much for the shout out, Comet and Harrison. Let me get the next game ready for you guys and see how it goes. Yeah, I'm excited for this next game. So it is Mido picking first. Mido. One thing we haven't mentioned is Mido is really good at China. It's not a civilization we always see. What do you think he might? Do you think he might pick China?
Is he picking China?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
If he's not picking China, he's picking French. Or I mean, that's not specific. That the final map is Siberia. Siberia has that extra defensive outpost. They do have the 3 TPs on the side, but it's not given that you can take full control. Depends on the matchup, and if you pick France first, and the other player may counterpick so that they can also get onto the trading routes. It's hard to say, but I think French is a very safe first pick. But there are 16 civs in Age of Empires 3 now, and Mitoe is one with one of them, so he's got 15 at his disposal. It could be anything. Yeah,
we'll see what he goes with. We're getting the next game now. It is Mido versus Diaruga, game number 3. It is 1-1 apiece, best of 3. We'll see what the players are able to do. And here we go. It is Japan versus China. All right, so Mido does pick China. China here.
You knew that, didn't you? You knew
that.
No,
I honestly didn't know it when I said it. I really didn't. I promise.
I mean, if we were casting this live, I would be possibly calling for a rehost of Mitoe. Look at that exposed forward coin mine and outpost. That is potential an avenue for let's say if Diaruga was playing Ottoman or something, that could be a very tough place a very opportune moment to try and push in China, be that coin to age up. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say there.
No, we do see the fairly forward coin mine and outpost from Japan, also from Diaruga, but it's not quite the same. I agree. This mine is pretty far forward, and that outpost is it's actually almost not even within range of the TC. It's barely within range. So we take a look. It's really hard to see. Here, I can go to Diaruga's point of view. There we go. You can see how much more range he has on that outpost. You can see how close it is, how much of a difference that is. And yeah, Japan versus China. This is a matchup I've actually seen a couple times recently. China has some good opportunities. They have a really good... here, let me go to the other... China has a really good age 3 push. They also could push in age 4. But that's almost playing into Japan's favor, because as the longer the game goes, the more Japan ages up, the better their unit scale compared to China. China's advantage is its massive military. And
if you say China one more time, I'm just going to start calling you Donald Trump, okay? China.
Should I say China or something?
No, it's not that. It's quite funny. It's like one of my favorite online video memes is just a combination of Trump just saying China. It just comes many times. He said China literally 4 times in a row there. Oh, that's very funny.
Yeah.
Just a simple things please me. Diaruga dropping that cherry orchard on the side of his town center. Looks like he can't place it behind for where that wood treasure is and maybe where that wood line is. Not feeling that side position.
Yeah.
Especially he's got his 4 berries. I would like that tucked behind the town center, nice and safe. Maybe he's just leaving space for the Diaruga Shrine to get on top of that deer hunt.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the deck real quick. Once again, he does have the 2 villager shipment as an option, but he goes with the Kami. Heavenly Kami doesn't do a whole lot to gather rate of shrines, but it does do a whole lot for the for making shrines cheaper. So that's really where the strength of it goes. Looking at his deck here, he does not have 3 samurai, unlike game number 1, where I believe it was Mido that had 3 samurai, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was Lucas versus Conqueror on Grand Chaco.
Oh yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And yeah, so no 3 samurai. He does have, let's see, look at the rest of it. His flaming arrows. He's got Naginata, Ashi, Yumi. He doesn't have 1k wood. I think that's okay. Generally speaking, we see that Japan tries the shrine boom in age 2, and he can have his shrines on wood. It's the 1k wood is not a card that you necessarily expect to use a whole lot. So, yeah. Looking at the map, both players kind of start with 2 units that they are able to scout with. So we'll see which player has scouted a little bit better. It's pretty even, but I kind of give the advantage over... Well, it's pretty even all in all, so far at least. Going back, turning Fog of War off, we see that it is a Summer Palace age up from China.
Why did you say it like that?
Just for you. And we see actually a nice pickup, 120 XP from Japan here. Diaruga taking that. And he's aging up with the Teshugo Shrine. And yeah, Teshugo Shrine, Summer Palace. Looking at the age ups, Diaruga is a little bit ahead. Let's take a look at Mito's deck real quick. He has the answers to aggression in age 2. I don't expect that from Japan. And he does actually, I think he's going to lose his monk here. He should lose his monk here. Oh, is it? Oh, bad. Well, how much HP is that on? 5 HP. I think that would have been 1 more attack and he would have lost it. So, yeah, really close there. He was probably waiting on the cooldown ability to be reset, and that's why I did not go back earlier. He does actually build a shrine with a villager. That's unexpected. Yeah, unexpected.
It's quite far out as well, really.
Yeah, it's very far from his TC. I guess he's just going to put that in wood. I guess having not having a monk building a shrine is just what he had to do. This monk's also really low HP. And he has a couple of shipments saved up. He aged, I believe, with no villagers on his Teshugo Shrine. So that allows him to get more shrines out early. It's a jailed special of aging super slow and getting more of an eco advantage in the process. But versus China, you don't expect really heavy aggression. You expect China to be aging to 3 pretty quickly. But he is not going with 700 coin ASAP. It's not an FF. This is a semi-FF at best.
It's a Mitoe special. We all talk about the Mitoe China build of leaving the Summer Palace to build with 0 vills on and then sends 700 wood for a delayed age up to the 3rd age, but then save a shipment. It looks like Mitoe is going to go for a semi-FF at this point. Sends the Steppe Riders out on the map to put pressure on the shrines. Steppe Riders have very strong siege per unit. Realistically, they're quite cheap. When you have 7 of them, they actually tear down the shrines very quickly. They can put pressure on where the explorers are. He's built a barracks. He's training a standard army batch now. He has a standard army from the Summer Palace. So soon we could be expecting to have 11 Steppe Riders out on the field with 6 Chukanus just to put any pressure on any Ashis behind this. I still think Mitoe will be looking to go to the 3rd age. This game usually does play out in the 3rd or 4th age, and both Cids, they enjoy being in the 3rd or 4th age. I don't think there's any significant advantage of other Cids. I think China wants this to be age 3. I think Diaruga wants to be in age 4. But sends in the 700 woods, and then the coin comes behind. So that kind of it makes sense to me in that order.
Yeah. That will allow him to keep the shrine count from Diaruga low. Step Riders, as you mentioned, they have really good siege, but arguably more important, the Pike also have good siege, but the Step Riders are significantly faster than the fast Ashi that Japan can make that usually they use to deal with raids on the shrines. But Step Riders being faster will allow them to do a lot better. Also, you saw a little bit earlier, you saw the one Step Rider on the Monk of Japan. In Japan, Japanese monks just are not very strong, even in Age 2, and you saw that the Step Rider forced that monk to go back. We do see some nice shrines coming up. I believe that's probably just out of range of the no build area that the TC from Mido.
Yeah, that is naughty from Diaruga. That is trying to be as much. It's not BM. It's just like, hey, I'm dropping shrines in front of your base. Come deal with it, please. But it's quite amusing. A final reason why you might want to go standard army here instead of old Han is that the standard army costs food and coin.
Yeah.
You don't have to chop too much wood to get these Chukanu archers out and Step Riders. It is a food and coin based army, and I think it's going to be a nice semi-fair. Well, he sent the coin, and he's still training more and more batches of this standard army. And can we have a quick look at the Chinese deck to see if he's got standard army HP in his deck?
He does not. He doesn't even have the Step Siege card that he could potentially have. So sometimes it's a little bit of a mind game of having a deck that isn't necessarily ideal for your strategy, but if your opponent sees your deck, he's like, all right, well, they're not going to go this strategy, and he goes it anyways. It can be pretty devastating. One thing I do really like about the standard army is it allows you to mass a lot more Chukunu. The Old Han army costs 180 wood, I believe 255 food, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 255 food, 180 wood, while the standard army, I believe, costs 255 food, 170 coin. So coin gathers faster, it costs less than the Old Han army. So you can definitely mass more Chukunu, and that's what he's going for. He's trying to siege a lot. It's funny enough, he's expecting all the shrines on the side, and these shrines right in front of his base are left right there.
Quick question: Is Mitoe sending 600 coin after 700 coin? Or is this the 700 coin being a little bit delayed? Because he's sending coin. He's currently got 700 in his bank already. I think he should be canceling this card.
No, he's going to age up with it. He's going to. He has almost all of his villagers on food. Just a couple here on coin that he will be gathering the treasure with, the crates with in just a bit, and so he should be aging up. I'm curious. He has 1k coin, so maybe this will be a not even a semi-fast industrial, a fully clothed fast industrial, and.
We're not flashing back to that. Don't worry. I mean, when you say a fast industrial, he has stayed around in the second age a long time. Let's look at the cards order from Japan, and while he gets that deck out, just want to mention ZD Flower gifting 5 subs. Nice to see your presence in the channel today. I hope you've been enjoying this whole day of Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition action. I've certainly been enjoying it. Looks like we've seen probably 600 wood, 4 vil, 600 coin from Diaruga's build. That's what I think has happened.
Yeah, he's also he could have sent some other cards. No, these are the only cards that he could have sent so far. He does have 1 trade post, interestingly enough. But yeah, those Step Riders are just doing work, taking out the shrines. And the army from Diaruga is suffering because of it. Mido, despite China not being the best in Age 2, is keeping up with Japan in score. Lots and lots of shrines coming down, and that's also fueling his shipments for the next age also. So we see Mido still he's still age 2, but he's almost age 3. If he can hold off before fighting here, then he'll be in a good position, I think.
Now you can see the risk that Mito's in. He's aging up after Japan. Usually it's the other way around. China aging up before Japan, putting pressure on Japan, but Japan at the moment, they're looking at Step Riders, Chukano, thinking, yes, let's get some Nagis out. There's 4 Nagis out in the open, but I think there's a reinforcing batch of Naginata Riders from Japan's town center. I think I did see a Nagi shipment coming from Japan. It's going to hit the field soon, maybe? Check over to Ruga.
Yeah, it's coming in right now. And villagers, ooh, lots of villagers that are going to be raided down. That's a lot of villagers. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 villagers that he could go down. And Diaruga, let's go to his point of view real quick and see what he sees.
Oh no! Look at that infantry mass. The archers of the Bestieras and Yumi are slowing down that Ashi mass. We have Soldier just dropping $50 into the tournament prize pool as well.
Dang, man.
Games earlier. Cheers for that one. But more importantly than $50, we got villagers exposed and about to get raided. Where have they gone?
That's why I went to Fog of War. Diaruga did not find them. All of them were killed. Oh, but once the shrine goes up, he might be seen. He should be seen. But the village, if that goes up, that'll also protect them a little bit. He still has shrines going down. Yeah, only 2 villagers go down, I believe. 6 made it safely. Yes, 6 made it safely. Take a look at this nice little mine. The DE mines are absolutely beautiful, especially once you get used to them. And yeah, so more shrines going down. And we'll look at the population real quick for you guys. It's very, very even, 92 to 100. And it is, yeah, Mito's done a pretty good job of trying to keep the shrine count low of Diaruga. He does have some shrines around the map. He's had to rebuild so many of them. And Mito's also cut this haunt. Well, just as I say it, the deer goes back. But I was going to say keep that haunt off the shrine. But yeah.
Was that villain line there, like trying to shoot one of the deers? If Diaruga has the 5,000 IQ, who look at that deer HP and realize one of them is pretty wounded, and that would signify some sort of economic activity in the area. Okay, here comes 2 Naggies. He's definitely seen it. He's going to put some raiding pressure on, and that infantry army is quite close behind. Look at this card that Ruga's sending now. Nagi Nata HP. Previously, it was a massive 30%, but even still, now it's been reduced down to 25% HP, coupled with the high base HP and the 30% range resist, and the fact that these are Lancer-style units. I think these units are fantastic versus China. China with chance to start getting out, chained out, arquebusiers, maybe a couple of redcoats. I think Ruga's army and just eco and general position is looking to be pretty decent. But is Mito just going pure yellow Swaggins Cav here? Do I see Cav? I see that's a lot of Cav batches there.
That's so much Cav. There are step riders in there. There are lots of old Han, lots of meteor hammers. But this is looking really, really rough for Diaruga. His army is on the opposite side of the map. He's going to lose at least 1 wonder here, maybe 2, maybe even more. This is really, really good for Mito, taking advantage of that village on the opposite side of the map. Diaruga sent his whole army there. His Chukunu are going to be caught out, though. It is going. The Naginata are pulled back. That is Golden Pavilion going down. That wonder is huge. That wonder is a huge buff to your army. He pulls back. He's going to try to make it out before Diaruga can come back. We'll see if he does. This army, the Naginata, are far away from the army of Ashi and Yumi. Much slower. And so I think he'll be fine. They'll need enough. He'll need to play it smartly.
The cav, you need to put it back. The Lancer-style cav, they're actually not the greatest versus other heavy cavalry units as well. And really needs the... He's training some clubbing behind. That's what you want to see, is some clubbing. They're specialist anti-cavalry. But those Ashies as well, they're in a group with a couple of... the cav, no, run!
They're caught, but the army from... Diaruga is here. The Ashi and the Yumi, they're moving forward. This is the fight of the century for these 2 players in this match. And this is going to be super, super close. Flaming arrows coming from behind. Those are key to watch. There's not enough Chukunu. I think it's the advantage over to Diaruga. And Mito realizing that, pulling back. And he is pulling the pull tricking the Chukunu. That was really, really good pull trick. The redcoats come out now, but they're on the back. You want those in the front, taking damage from those Cav. And the army from Diaruga is just looking really good. The score from Mito a little bit lower, and it's looking like it's gonna drop lower and lower. These Cav are really, really good versus the army of Diaruga with the Naginata, but we'll see if they're able to do enough here. The Cav come in from the back and are gonna take out the flaming arrows. That is huge. These ranged meteor hammers are just so, so good. This is a super, super close fight. I'm concerned there's not enough Chukunu though for Mito. I think Diaruga is going to be able to take it.
I think Mito has overpriced those 2 flaming arrows there. He had a mainly cav army anyway, so he wasn't at risk of those flaming arrows getting too much value. But those clubmen were involved. Nagis with high HP just pinning the cav for all the Ashes to do damage before. I'd like to have seen a few Ashes go into hand combat there, but you can't argue about Nagi Natas picking off Chukanu for free there. Surely if there was a military population graph like in the old UI, it would be firmly in the color blue right now. The score says that Diaruga is in the lead, and the GG's been called.
Yeah, GG's been called. Diaruga takes it 2-1 versus Mido. Diaruga upsets Mido and gets the 2-1. You see the population at the end of that, 52 to 103. Nearly 50 military pop up. The Step Riders and Chukunu, Mido decided to go for quite a few in Age 2. And it looks like it did not pay off. It's good to have some. Perhaps that shipment. Perhaps you could even use a few other shipments if you want to try to help out. But he does end up aging after Diaruga already aged up. He does take out the Golden Pavilion. That was a really nice touch. But in the end, his army is caught out of position, and his army is taken out. The mass from China could not really be mustered after Japan hit Age 3 first. And really well done from Diaruga. He takes it 2-1, and that was a good series. What were the best parts of that series for you?
You shouting China in a weird voice. You're going to catch me completely off guard. That's one highlight. I mean, it's hard to say because it's just such a smaller series. But I think that final game, what I liked was Mitoe was doing a non-standard build order versus Japan. I think if Mitoe made 2 batches of the standard army, got a batch out from the Summer Palace and the 7 steps from the shipments, and left it as that, and aged up at a bit faster time, I think Mitoe would have been overall, I think, in the better game position. I think he was hanging out in the second age just a little too long. Remember, when you get to the third age, as China with the Porcelain Tower, that's extra 8 villager economy there and then, and you get better quality shipments and better quality unit troops, and it just gets better and better from that position. Diaruga, the good unit choice there, going Ashi, Nagi. It's always tempting to go lots of Yumi is Japan or just go Yumi Ashi, but the Nagi's there, really important. And Ruga, you could say outsmarting Mitoe, maybe getting possibly lucky game 1, you could say, maybe just abusing the Swedish. But it was a good balanced series. Shame there's only 3 games there.
Yeah, I could have watched a best of 7 on that. Diaruga and Mido seem to be very, very closely matched, and really good games from them. Take a look at the post game real quick for you guys. It is Diaruga definitely killing more units. Obviously, with winning that last fight, it's definitely gonna do a lot. Mido actually up on combat XP, so you see that Diaruga having more military, better eco. Mido actually killing a lot of shrines, and that's partly why you see that so high. Really well done from Mido, but Diaruga does take that. We'll look at the villager population real quick for you guys. Diaruga in the lead there, and losing lots of villagers. Mido rates just are so important. You lose the villagers, and it just puts you so far behind. The res gathered, you see that Diaruga, by the end of it, is 21k to 17k, 21, yeah, 17.4k. Good stuff from Diaruga. He takes that. We'll take a look at the military unit population, and you see Mido got a lot of units out early. Try to keep those shrines in check, but Diaruga did a really good job of just keeping the shrines going up. And
let's see it. Let's go on that buildings tab. Let's see how. There may be a buildings tab unless they removed it from the base game.
Military buildings.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Wait, what? Okay.
No, it's in the timeline. It's buildings at the bottom.
There you go. Yeah, so he kept up with the shrines. Obviously, you can't see which building is which, but he definitely kept with the shrines pretty well. He definitely lost some, but he had a lot of shrines. One thing that's really worth mentioning is he aged up with 0 villagers on the Toshugo Shrine, and you can see how much of an impact that made. He actually was able to get tons and tons of shrines out really early.
And also the 600 wood first card also helps for to double 4 vil behind and 600 coins of age up behind. So I think Ruga was at about 120, 130 shrine pop for the most of that game, but was having to build more shrines than he wanted to due to the raising pressure of Mitoe. So Mitoe was trading off his own build and his own civ strength to try and hamper Japan. But I think in the end we can both agree it just wasn't enough.
Yeah,
needed.
Yeah, 6 minutes, 30 seconds is about when the first shipment came in for Diaruga, and he had almost all of his shrines up by then, or at least he had 18. He had 18 buildings, so he had over half of his shrines at least up by then. So yeah, really well played. Diaruga does take game number 3, and he wins the series 2-1.